Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross and I was always told I had a voice for radio, so today we are starting another tournament. We are looking at the Sutton Coldfield League Challenge. This was an expanded League Challenge, which means we're going from all the way from black and white through to the recently released set of Breakthrough. Little tournament today, 16 players, 5 rounds, best of 1, but we got some good players and some good games, so settle in, make yourself comfortable, and enjoy this round from Sutton Coldfield League Challenge. Single game, 30 minutes, black and white to Breakthrough. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, on the left we have Siobhan Butcher, who we last saw on, I believe we saw him on the National stream. He was a senior, he was in the final. He is going to be playing Seismitoad bats. And on the right we have got Corey Kirkham and his Luke Kirkham mat. He is going to be playing fighting bats, so bats coming out of yo face, quite frankly, which matches quite nicely with what we saw from the last regionals, from which I put games up. London regionals, Huddersfield regionals. I put a whole Newport regionals. I put a whole bunch of regionals games up lately, most recently Newports, and bats, those Zubats, Crowbats, and Goalbats. They have been everywhere lately, ladies and gentlemen, and they're coming back round again. Siobhan has decided to pair them with Seismitoad, and Corey is pairing them with, well, fighting stuff. Horlucha, Landorus, etc. So, Corey appears to have won the flip. He appears to be going first. He's going to want to get as many bats down as quickly as possible. Also, he wants to play his tools out. Oh, we get a fighting stadium down, we get a strong energy, and we get a sycamore straight away. Now, slightly dodgy potentially putting that that strong energy onto the Horlucha. He gets another one down. Horlucha is really good against Seismitoad here because it hits for a minimum of 60 damage, and it's hard for the Seismitoad to one-hit KO. So the reason why the strong energy is a little bit dodgy, when you're playing against Toad, you expect them to be playing something along the lines of a You expect them to be playing something along the lines of, oh, and we see a Verbank City Gym coming down, Enhanced Hammer, to get rid of those strong energy much more easily. So we see a plus power coming down. That is a nice little feature of Siobhan's deck. So he's going to be looking to KO that Horlucha. Now remember, we've got the Phantom Force, not the Phantom Forces, sorry. We've got the old Zubat there. As an end comes down, both players shuffle and draw 6 because they both got 6 prizes remaining. We're able to use the old Zubat here, which only has 40 HP, not 50, but has got an ability which gives it free retreat when there is no energy attached. And Corey's basically saying, I'm going to leave a Horlucha in the active because it's less likely you're going to hit 70 than you're going to hit 40. Now, I have played both these chaps in this tournament. One thing I can tell you about Siobhan's deck is this. He plays 4 plus power. So if he can get a DCE Muscle Band plus power here, he is going to get the KO. Or indeed, if he can get a laser DCE, he has got the KO without even having a Muscle Band. Remember that Muscle Band adds 20 damage to all attacks of the Pokemon to which it is attached. Plus power adds 10 damage to attacks done that turn to the active. And laser poisons them, which will do 10 damage between turns, or 30 if you've got a Verbank City in play. As it stands at the moment, of course, Siobhan has no DCE. He hasn't played a laser. So, if nothing else, he's going to need to get a DCE down. And not only has he not got a KO on the Horlucha, but not hitting the DCE means that he hasn't got an attack off, which means he hasn't used Seismitoad's Quaking Punch, which means Corey is not trainer locked. Which means that Corey can play his trainers for another turn, which is a huge advantage against the Seismitoad decks. You shouldn't be surprised to hear that when I played Siobhan, he did get the Seismitoad lock on turn 1 without any problems whatsoever. Well, of course he did. Not to sound bitter, of course. Maybe it sounds a little bit bitter. Who cares? I'm not in this game and that's okay. Now, you can see Corey he's thinking about that Getsis. Now, Getsis is a card which basically says, show your hand to look at your opponent's hand, shuffle all of their items back into their deck, and draw 1 card for every item they shuffled back into their deck. Now we can see that Shivam has got a VS Seeker in hand. I don't know if he played a supporter last turn. Oh, he did. He played an N. So that gets his, could be huge here, because he gets rid of both the VS Seekers into his deck. He's left with just a Golbat in hand. Shivam was going to be able to use a VS Seeker to grab an N and refill his hand, or refresh his hand, I should say, would be more accurate. Now, and Corey knows this, all Shivam has is one Golbat. If Shivam doesn't draw into anything next turn, he's just going to have to sit there while he gets smashed in the face by Hawluchas. Now, interestingly, Corey's choosing to hit... Oh, okay, it's not that interesting anymore. I was going to say with the active, because he needs to do at least 80 to really be threatening a legitimate 2-hit KO, but the Fighting Stadium came down. So the one on the bench with the strong energy and the muscle band that will be doing 100, that one sat on the bench. He's just kind of chilling. He'll come out later. Corey is not expecting a... He's not expecting an enhanced hammer here, because he knows that Shivam, and whatever he drew, it wasn't good. So Corey can now, if he's got a strong energy, he could put it on the Hawlucha, or he can just retreat and get the KO with the benched Hawlucha. And you'll notice that he did the 20 damage to the benched Seismitoad using the Golbat, which is a really clever play from Corey. He saw the 2-hit KO doing 80 and 100 with Hawlucha, meaning that the damage from the Golbat was completely irrelevant to the math on the active Seismitoad. That's for you Americans, by the way. Generally, I'm going to say maths because that's how we call it in the UK. Oh, he's drawn back into one of his VS Seekers. That means Shivam can get the N and can refresh his hand. But still, Corey has now had 3 turns. He's got off 2 attacks. He's taken 2 prizes. And in that time, Shivam has done basically nothing. He did use a Golbat to hit the Hawlucha with the Focus Sash attached, meaning that, because unlike most Seismitoad decks, Shivam could have gone Seismitoad, Muscle Band, double plus power, and got the 1-hit KO. Laser comes down, it's a Tails. Now, of course, that would be stopped with Focus Sash. Focus Sash would go, oh, you're going to 1-hit KO me? Well, that's okay. Discard the Focus Sash, go down to 10 HP. So, interesting little play from Shivam here. He has chosen to leave his Golbat in the active. Remember that Hawlucha's attack can only damage EXs. It does absolutely nothing against non-EXs. So he can basically sit there and force Corey to do something. Now, what Corey is going to be trying to do here, probably the optimum play, is to evolve to a Crobat, if he's got one, put 30 damage on the bench Seismitoad, put a basic fighting, because remember strong cannot be attached to a Crobat, put a basic fighting on the Crobat, and then start just sniping the Seismitoad and start trying to take out the Seismitoad from the bench. The other option, if he's got a muscle band, would be do 30 to the Golbat with Crobat's ability, then attach a muscle band energy to the Crobat and hit the Crobat for 50 and get the KO. And he doesn't, unfortunately, have that. Now, the problem with that is that if Shivam gets a Crobat here, the HP of Golbat is going to turn into 130 rather than 70, which is going to be very, very difficult for Corey to KO. He's going to need to do an extra 70 damage to get the KO. I personally would have gone after the Seismitoad on the bench. Corey knows he needs 3 EX KOs to get the win. KOing the Golbat, or Crobat as it will probably become, doesn't get him any closer to winning the game. He'll still need 3 EX KOs overall to get the win. The reason why it would have been good to try and KO the Golbat would have been to, just get it off the board, force Shivam to be using his EXs, and he hasn't been able to do that. However, slight luck out here, because Shivam didn't have the Crobat, sorry. I'm still going to get them confused in like every video. The way to remember it, by the way, it goes in reverse alphabetical order. Zubat, Golbat, Crobat. Can't remember which Twitter follower sent me that at the Wassy, but whoever it was, thank you very much. Really, really helpful. I'm still going to get it wrong, but less often than I used to. So Corey here, he now is going to be able to KO the Golbat. I still would have preferred the play on the Seismitoad last turn, But he that's a bit of luck, bit of kind of calculated risk-taking, to use a businessy kind of term. He hasn't KO'd the Golbat yet, but he's got another hit on the Golbat while its HP is still 70, not 130. Is a shame he's going to have to leave that Crobat in the active to take more poison damage, but worth it to essentially get the KO there. Because the other thing is, as well as getting the KO, he takes away the potential 30 damage that could have been done by a Crobat coming down with his ability. Now, I'm not 100% sure why Shavam attacked with a Seismitoad last turn rather than the Shaymin rather than the Seismitoad. Now, it did get the Shaymin off the bench, which took an easy prize away from Corey, but it just gave him trainers for one more turn. Now, we are seeing an end down to 3 here, so actually, maybe Shavam had the right idea. Take the Shaymin off the board, get rid of the easy prizes. You would only be doing 30 damage anyway, and you're essentially giving a little trade-off. You're doing the same damage. You're giving Corey one more turn of trainers by not attacking with Seismitoad, but you're getting the Shaymin off the bench and forcing Corey to take harder prizes to win by not attacking with Seismitoad. So you can see where he's going. I do get the feeling that had he hit heads on the laser the previous turn, he would have attacked with Seismitoad, because if your opponent's Pokemon is asleep and they're trainer locked, that's just bad news bears for them. But it gave Corey another turn to, for instance, put a muscle band down on that Crobat, which he now is not able to do. He didn't hit the muscle band. So, Corey here content to just let the Golbat die. He knows that those Hawluchas are the money Pokemon. And what he doesn't want to do is, and we see another end coming down from Shavam, just trying to get Corey's hand into something unplayable. Because if you can get your opponent down to a terrible hand and then just start trainer locking with Seismitoad, that is a very common route to victory with these Seismitoad decks. So, we see Corey here essentially going, I need my Hawluchas to take out your EXs, especially a Shaymin if you ever put one back down again. So I'm going to attack with my Golbat in the Crobat in the active. And as much sense as that makes, let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, that if Shavam goes down to a point where all he's got out are 2 active Crobats, that's going to be very, very dodgy for Corey. Let's say, and it's going to be very difficult. Let me make that clear, but it's possible. Let's say, for argument's sake, Shavam goes and gets 2 Golbats. Well, that's 40 damage on Corey's side of the field. Then he goes and gets 2 Crobats. Well, that's in total 100 damage spread over Corey's side of the field. And then all Shavam has got is his 2 Crobats. And Corey has Hawluchas. And if that Crobat goes down, as it's clearly going to this turn, all Corey has remaining is Hawluchas. And Hawluchas cannot attack Crobats. So, again, another play I disagree with there. I would have gone for the Hawlucha on the Seismitoad, and I understand why he didn't. He didn't want to lose the Hawluchas. They were easy to kill, blah, blah, blah. The point is this. By getting rid of the Golbat, he's now got a Crobat. He's now got nothing with which to attack Shavam's Crobats if the Crobats come out. Now, we see that Seismitoad, he's on the verge of death here. That was another 80 damage. Shavam needs to get it out the active soon. And here comes the Enhanced Hammer. Now, this is potentially dodgy here. Corey is going to have no energy left on the field. And by the way, I would have attacked with the Hawlucha with the strong energy, essentially because you know he's going to hit an Enhanced Hammer sooner or later. You might as well let him KO the Hawlucha with the strong energy, because now what's going to happen is the Golbat's gone down. This Hawlucha in the active is going down. Quaking Punch is currently doing 50. Hawlucha's got 50 HP remaining. He going down. And the Enhanced Hammer has left Corey with no energy on his side of the field. Had he retreated the Crobat to the Hawlucha, he could have potentially avoided that, because it would be the Hawlucha with a strong energy that went down, and the Enhanced Hammer couldn't have got the energy off the other Hawlucha because it's a basic energy. Now, another counter argument to that play, the goal Crobat was nearly dead. What Corey did not want to do was retreat the Crobat, go, hey, here's a Hawlucha that you can kill. Oh, and by the way, feel free to kill my... Oh, and a Sycamore from Corey there is a very timely card to get. Oh, and by the way, feel free to kill my Crobat that's on the bench using your Golbats and Crobats abilities, because that would have happened probably sooner rather than later. So lots of things to consider here. Oh, and he gets the strong energy. That is going to be a KO. He's down to 1 prize, but how will he take that prize? Although, if Shivam leaves a Zubat on the field this turn, then potentially we could see a KO with the Zubat. Now, I need to try and remind myself which attack that Zubat's got. I know the Phantom Forces one does 10 for 1 energy. I'm not sure this one does. But if he can even do 10 damage, then he could put a Muscle Band on and do 40, plus the 20 from evolving to the Crobat would be 60. So, now that Golbat is going to do 10 to all of Corey's Pokemon, plus the Muscle Band is 30, plus the Plus Power is 40, plus the Laser is 50. That is a KO on the Hawlucha, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what Corey could do here... Oh, and there's a Hex Maniac coming down. So even if Corey has a Golbat, there will be no evolving with the Golbat. Now that's... Yeah, I was going to say, and then there'll be 10 damage to each of the bench. Now, if Corey's got a DCE, and I can't imagine he does, he could even attack with Shaman here. Now, remember, ladies and gentlemen, there is a route to Corey winning here. Hawlucha, Strong Energy, Muscle Band, Lysandra... pulls up the Shaman, 120 damage, KO. He's not trainer locked, so he can play the Muscle Band. He doesn't need any whatchamacallsum's abilities to do it. Now, he can't do the 20 damage from the Golbat there, but he's getting a Muscle Band and getting a Level Ball and getting another Zubat. This is very clever. He's basically saying, look, I can give up the 20 damage from the Golbat here. Because next turn I can get a Crobat for 30 damage. I can get a Golbat for 20 damage. If he doesn't evolve that Zubat, I can kill it next turn. Even if he does, I can do stuff like, attack it with a Shaman. Oh, and a Dedenne comes out. Or Dedenne, or however you want to pronounce it. For 1 energy, 20 damage times the amount of energy on your opponent's active Pokemon. Now, with a Muscle Band here, he's actually doing 80 damage. That's the win. He's got the win. Wonderful. Very, very clever win from Corey there. 20 damage for the 1 energy plus the Muscle Band times by 2 is 80. Congratulations to Corey. Thank you very much to both chats for agreeing to be on the stream. Thank you very much to everyone at Sutton Coldfield League, including but not limited to Joanna Shirley and Glenn Pugh, for putting on the event and allowing us to record. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, as you usually do in these videos, or at least I hope you usually do. Congratulations to Corey. A very clever win with Dedenne there, right at the end. A very good game, I hope you agree. I very much enjoyed watching it, and I'll be back with round 3 in the next day or two. We're getting close to Christmas, ladies and gentlemen, and I like to think of this as continuous Christmas presents. Thank you very much for watching. Look after yourselves till next time. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.